All right, what is matter? Matter is everything around you. Atoms, atoms and molecules are all composed of matter, which we're going to get a little bit deeper in a few minutes. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space, pretty much things around you. If you are new to the idea of mass, it is the amount of stuff in the object. So pretty much if we go back to the beginning of that definition, it said matter is everything around you, which is air, which what we talked about earlier, which was air, is something big that consists of matter. But you have a million things that are around you on planet Earth, but when you talk about matter, air is one of the primary things that's around you. All right, the 3 stages of matter. That's something that I really want to get into today. As you can see in this picture, all right, in this first picture you see, what is there? A solid, good job. A liquid, good job. And a gas. Those are the 3 stages of matter, and we're going to talk about each one of those stages, and we're going to really break down how they work into matter and what it does containing matter. All right, a solid. Right here I got a couple of examples of the 3 stages of matter. Right here you see a book, right? It's a book. This book is known to be a solid. So let's look at our picture on our PowerPoint and see what other examples of solid. You have a what? You have a desk. You have a plate, blocks or pins. You have a piece of wood. You have a basketball, one of my primary favorites, and you have some shoes. All of those things are known as a solid, which consists of matter. What is a solid? Solids can be hard like a rock. It can be soft like fur. It can be big as a rock, like a asteroid, or small rocks like grains or sand. All of those things consist of matter. It's pretty much a lot of things around you. You have this tissue box. This is consisting of a solid. You have this tape. It consists of a solid. You have this computer. All consist of a solid. Even this tissue, even though it's small and it's soft, like what it said in our definition, soft like fur, it consists of a solid. So we go to another chart that we have consisting of the states of matter. It said, there's 3 states of matter consisting of a solid. So a solid is the particles that are close together and they only vibrate. It has no definite volume or shape. So when we go back and we look at this book, it has no definite volume or shape. Also, look at this, no definite volume or shape. And I want to go back into the first picture with the 3 stages of matter. It's particles that are very close together. When you look at that picture, you see particles very close together, real tight. That's how a solid forms. So pretty much if you look at this book and you put all the particles together, this is how this book actually forms. And then we'll get into, if you look at liquids in a few minutes, you will see how it's actually spread it out, and with gases spreading out and expanding even more. All right, liquid. What is a liquid? A liquid is a sample of matter that conforms of the shape of a container in which it is held and which acquires a definite surface in the presence of gravity. So if you think about it, liquids are found between the solids and gas states. Examples of a liquid can be room temperature. One of our examples today is water. It says water, blood, and even honey. Anything soft, liquidy like that consists of matter. So let's go back to our chart and let's see what a liquid actually is. Okay, a liquid is a particle, particles that are far apart and slides past each other. It has no definite volume, but not a definite shape. So the solid and the liquid have some similarities because they both have no definite volume. A solid has shape, but a liquid has no definite shape. And if you go back, and we go back to our picture again with the three states of matter, you see how the solids are together, and you see how the particles of a liquid are far apart. And then I'm guessing that you can kind of dictate some of the things dealing with a gas as they're even further apart. Come on. All right. So if you look at that picture, you see a glass of somebody pouring milk. Pouring milk that consists of a liquid. So there's water. So is the water bottle consisting? Is it consisting of a liquid or a gas? James, good job. The water is consisting of a liquid. The water bottle consists of a what class? A solid. All right. All right, let's talk a little bit about a gas now. One of my favorites, a gas. All right. What is a gas? Gas is a state of matter that has no fixed shape and no fixed volume. So some examples of what gases actually are. For example, you have the atmosphere of the earth. You have fumes from a volcano. You have helium from a balloon. And one of my favorites, I actually drink them too much, I need to stop. You have bubbles in a soda. So if you look here, we got our soda, and I want to show you how gas actually shows up in the soda. If you look at this picture, you look at this, what do you actually see? You see soda with bubbles in it. The bubbles is a gas. It consists of the gases. So again, when we go back, let's go over here and look at our chart, and then we'll go back to the three states of matter in a second. Gases. So particles are very far apart, and they move very quickly. So as you saw, when I pour the soda, and you see the bubbles, and you see they move very quickly, and then they kind of evaporate. Those consist of gases, the bubbles. So again, particles are very far apart. They move very quickly. Doesn't have a definite volume or shape. So another example of that will be boiling water. So right here you see the picture of boiling water. Water vapor has everything to do with what gases actually are. So is a pot of water that's not boiling, is that consisting of a gas? Yes or no? No, it consists, if it's not boiling, it will consist of what class? A liquid. So vapor, boiling water, consists of a gas. When it's actually boiling, if you look at it and pay close attention, you see bubbles in boiling water as well. And let's go back to our picture and look at it and see what that actually is again. Alright, as you can see, far apart, you can see that the gases and the pretty much the circles, which are, you can say, bubbles, expanding far apart. That's how gases are developed. See how liquid, they're kind of in between. They're not too far apart and they're not too close. And you can see liquid, they're close together like family, very, very tight. Alright, so now we know the three things. We know what a gas is, we know what a liquid is, and we know what a solid is. All of those things consist of matter, which are the three states of matter. All right, few more facts about what matter is, pretty much an overview of what we talked about, what matter actually was. All right, what is matter? Facts about matter. Atoms and molecules are all composed of matter. And we're going to talk about atoms in a second. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Pretty much had a definition of the book, the water, and the soda. If you are new to the idea of mass, it is the amount of stuff in an object, which you saw when you saw the soda and you saw the bubbles in the soda. That's how the drink in the soda is made up, through the bubbles, which it has. If you think about a periodic table and you think about that chart, it's you have like different things, helium, like for example in a balloon, a lot of things, a lot of elements in the periodic table is how that soda is made up through matter and atoms. All right, some of the properties of matter: how it looks, how it feels, how it smells, how it sounds, and what it does. So, for example, how does this book sound when I drop it on the ground? It sounds very, very loud and noisy. How does this water feel when I pour it on myself? I'm not gonna pour it on myself, but if I pour it on myself, it will feel very, very slippery and very, very wet. And lastly, how does this drink look? It looks like colorful with a lot of bubbles inside of it. If you look and I go up close, then you can actually see the bubbles in the drink. So those are some of the properties of what matter actually is. All right, now let's talk a little bit about atoms. Pretty much how matter and atoms go together for our lesson of how to recognize what all matter consists of using atoms. So if you can see in this picture, these are pretty much your atoms. And these, in a minute, we're going to get to what it actually is called. All right, what is an atom? An atom are often referred to as the building blocks of matter. So pretty much that's the foundation. So the bubbles in that soda, those are the building blocks. Those are pretty much the atoms, which we call elements. Those are the elements that consist of matter, how it's made, the foundation, how it actually starts. Each element on the periodic table, what we just mentioned earlier with the helium and all those different things that makes up a periodic table, is composed of one type of atom and cannot be broken down into a simpler substance. All right, some types of atoms. There are a lot of types of atoms, and those atoms are called elements, what we just talked about and we just mentioned earlier. Some examples: you got helium. They contain atoms with 2 protons and 2 neutrons, pretty much what you just saw in this picture right here at the beginning of what atoms actually were. All right, how does matter? Now let's talk about pretty much the overview of our lesson and the objective of the day. How does matter consist of atoms? As you see, we have a picture with different types of ways that can happen. All right. Most of atoms is empty space. The rest consists of positively charged nucleus and protons and neutrons surrounded by a cloud of negatively charged electrons. So those are the ways that atoms, those are the ways that matter consists of atoms. All right. Now we're going to watch a video on how that actually, how does matter consist of atoms? You have to come up with, I don't got my speaker.